So when a quarterback that's got 6 rings and is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time might be declining, well, we gotta talk about that.
Hold up, wait until the whole team show up, yeah. I'm in Neverland, can't grow.
So hey, how's it going, guys? So today I just wanted to make a quick weekend review and talk about a few of the top sports news stories that have been going on over the last week. And some of those are, is Tom Brady declining? And what has been going on with the Los Angeles Rams? And can the Browns make the playoffs over the Steelers? Well, we're going to talk about that in this video. So before I forget, don't forget to go down and subscribe. I make these videos every single week talking about the biggest sports news stories and put my opinion in it, and then I ask for your opinion on them. And then I also make different sort of videos just analyzing different sort of sports topics and looking at it as sort of different perspective. So if you want to see more of these videos, go down and subscribe. And also, I post every single day on my Instagram and also my Twitter. Both of those will be right up there. And I just talk about different sports news topics. And I try and give a little bit of a different perspective than what I feel like ESPN and different sort of news outlets are giving. I try and give more of like an analytical look at it and try and bring the past back and really look at different sort of aspects to really get this sort of full story of what's been going on for different sports news topics. So last year, they went 13-3, went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots. But now this year, we're looking at them and they're 6-5 going into the middle of the season. And they traded for Jalen Ramsey, they traded away Marcus Peters, they made a good amount of moves in the offseason, even though they lost Ndamukong Suh. And they have Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, then they also have Brandon Cooks on the offensive side. And that begs into question, why can't Jared Goff get the ball down the field or even get past the third down marker? Because when I was watching the game against the Ravens, when they got absolutely manhandled by Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, they just couldn't get past the third down line. They couldn't get a first down for crap. And that just shows that Sean McVay is starting to get figured out. Because I remember a year ago, it was like, oh, Sean McVay is the greatest coach that has ever lived, even though he got really exposed by actually the greatest coach of all time in last year's Super Bowl. But that's another story for another day. But when you look at it, they have been using Todd Gurley as much. So they would usually do a play action, and then that would get the defense all rattled, and then they wouldn't know if they would be handing off to Gurley or if Goff would go back and throw to one of his premium wide receivers. And so now that Gurley hasn't been running the ball as much, they're not able to utilize the play action as effectively. And now this makes Goff need to make his own decisions. And you would usually think that if a quarterback is going to get as big of a contract extension as Jared Goff got, that he might be able to make some critical, hard decisions during the game. But I mean, you were able to see that during last year's Super Bowl when he decided to throw to Brandon Cooks two or three, I think it was either 2 or 3 times in a row, and then the second time, Stephon Gilmore just jumps right up, intercepts it, and then there's the game. But that just shows you that Jared Goff isn't able to make those game time hard decisions to be able to get his team over that hump. Then you also saw it during the Ravens game and also throughout this last season. Then when he just sits in the pocket, he just gets killed because he has no place to throw it. He just isn't able to make those quick time decisions during the game, and those kind of decisions that Tom Brady is really good at making is able to get you over that hump, is able to get you those wins during those close games, and you're able to make these amazing comebacks that, I mean, Jared Goff hasn't really been able to do too much as being a clutch player throughout his career so far. So next I want to talk about, is Tom Brady declining? So I gotta disclose something, that I'm a big Patriots fan and I'm a big Tom Brady fan. But anytime I go into these videos and put my opinion on it, I always try to look at it and back up and look at it as a NFL perspective or an NFL fan, not as a Patriots fan. Because with that way, I'm able to try and take my bias as much as I can out of it and really sort of look at the analytics, really sort of look at what is there and really try and figure out what's been going wrong. And if you really look at it, in the last 2 years, Tom Brady hasn't been as efficient on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, even when he did have Rob Gronkowski, even when he did have Josh Gordon, he wasn't able to get that ball into the red zone as efficiently as we've been able to see him, because you would see it. He would get on the red zone, and then there'd be times where he would either be getting rushed or there would just be nobody open, and you would just see him sail it over the end zone. From watching the games every single week this last season, I've seen that so many times. And the Patriots aren't also as efficient as you've seen them be on third down. And then because they don't have a guy who can even kick a field goal, they have to go for fourth down. And I've been seeing them go like 4th and 5, 4th and 7. They've been going for the ball. They've been going for fourth down. And that just puts so much risk on the game, so much risk on Tom Brady. With a quarterback that doesn't look as on his game and really as comfortable as you usually see Tom Brady in the pocket, you could say that he doesn't have the weapons that he usually has. You can say that he has all these injuries on the offensive line of the ball, and that all goes into what has been going on for the issues with the Patriots offense. That still doesn't explain why Tom Brady isn't able to throw the ball as efficiently down the field. He isn't able to make those pinpoint, completions, and he just doesn't look as crisp and as really godly as he usually does in that pocket. Because when he runs out on that field, you're like, wow, this is the greatest quarterback of all time. But in these last 2 seasons, you just haven't really seen it. And to be very honest, last year when they were going into the playoffs, I was kind of doubting that they were going to even make the Super Bowl, just because that offense wasn't really able to do anything. And now if you look at it this year, he doesn't have his main target, Rob Gronkowski, to be able to even do anything. And the main tight end that he's been using has 6 receptions. Like, what? How can you even do anything with that? And then he's got N'Keal Harry, who just came back. He has Jordan Myers, who's been balling out. And then Julian Edelman doesn't look as efficient as he usually does. And so this all goes into why Tom Brady hasn't been as efficient. But I still believe he's declining a little bit. I just don't think he's over that cliff like Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith love to talk about. But I think it is going to be start time thinking about when will he retire, and I think it's going to be coming up in the next year or two. So a matchup that you have all been waiting for, the Steelers and the Browns. But there's one catch: Mason Rudolph is not starting. So this is going to be a pretty critical and pretty crazy game, not only because of what happened in the last game for the Steelers and the Browns, but because this game could determine who wins their division. Now the Steelers are 6-5, the Browns are 5-6. Both of them have relatively equal and easy schedules coming up. But one team in the Browns has Baker Mayfield with 2 top wide receivers, 2 top running backs, and then we look over at the Steelers. They don't have Antonio Brown, they don't have Big Ben, they don't have Le'Veon Bell. They have a new quarterback coming in who hasn't really started, and their defense is mediocre. So we'll see really who is able to come out on top, not only in this game, but in their division, because it'll be crazy if after such a frustrating and after such a terrible start to the season for the Browns, if they're able to come all the way back. I mean, I don't know. Freddie Kitchens looked really bad at the start of the season. I don't know if the Browns are able to retain him after this season. But, I mean, if you looked at Baker last game, I mean, he threw for 327, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And Odell finally got his first touchdown since week 2. So you're starting to see that connection. Landry was able to get 6 receptions. You're seeing Baker really start to feel a little bit more comfortable in the pocket. I mean, you could bring up that, they played the Dolphins, but the week before they played the Steelers, who have a tough defense, and they put up 21 against them. Then they put up 19 against the Bills, who have also a really good defense. And the Bills aren't a bad team either. So, the Browns are starting to roll a little bit. The Browns are starting to figure it out. And if they had David Njoku as another weapon for Baker to throw to, this could get kind of dangerous. And so, dangerous. But, Baker hasn't been feeling really too dangerous this year. But to get back to the point, it'll be really interesting to see if the Browns will be able to beat the Steelers in this next competition and then also be able to get to the playoffs. In my prediction, I think the Browns are going to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be a crazy big story, and I think it's going to surprise the entire NFL world. But this is why we love sports. This is why we watch it. And so let me know your guys' opinion down below. Who do you think is going to make the playoffs? The Steelers or the Browns? And so thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you do like these videos, please give me a big thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Also comment down below all your guys' opinions on all these different topics. It'd be really interesting to hear your guys' thoughts, and I'm going to be responding in the comment section below. And so don't forget to subscribe for videos every single week. Also, don't forget to follow my Instagram and my Twitter. I post on those every single day about different sports topics. And I hope everybody has a great time with their family this next week at Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Be thankful. Be grateful for everything that you have in this life. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
The band, that's big views. Boarded the plane, won't be back to Maine. Now I can't camp it with you.